Trials in Final Fantasy XIV are something I've talked about at length in many of my videos, most notably and often in my solo played FF14 series. While the trials in the game are generally all good, there are definitely some I prefer to others. So, recently on stream, as a bit of a follow-up to my tier list of the MSQ dungeons in FF14, I decided to rank every trial in Final Fantasy XIV. Every MSQ trial, that is, as I didn't want to be sitting there for hours. And I will probably make another list of all the side content trials at some point in the future, so I just need to get around to having done them all. Now, there are 22 trials in the FF14 MSQ, and it already took me way longer than I thought it would to rank them all, so I'm going to quit my rambling and let the video begin. Here it is, chat. The tier list of MSQ trials. There's noticeably less... What the fuck did I just say? There's noticeably few compared to the dungeons. And that is because there's not enough trials in the MSQ, but I digress. We are only doing MSQ trials because I do not want to be here for hours. And I have not experienced absolutely every trial in the game. But rest assured, I am qualified to do this with my year of MMO experience, all in FF14. So in other words, I am not qualified. But either way, let's begin. Starting with the first trial in A Realm Reborn. The Bowl of Embers. Good old Ifrit. I'm giving it a C tier. It's a great first trial, I'll give it that. It has an awesome opening, the first little opening cutscene where Ifrit jumps out of like the eclipsed moon that looks like a void and he comes down into the battlefield. That's really cool. And the nails that are the white mechanic / enrage are actually really good and unexpected for a first fight because you'd expect it to just melt it down. But there's actually an insta-kill mechanic if you don't kill all of the nails, which I think that is good because it actually shows the player coming into the game, hey, there's actually some challenge to this game. Now then. And it also fits very well with an early rotation to this day and doesn't feel too broken with like a 3 ability ARR rotation at level 20. So hey, pretty good. You don't need qualifications to have an opinion. Apparently the comments section of my dungeon video thought I did. Anyway, moving on to the next trial. The Naval. Good old Titan. I am giving Titan. This is the Naval normal, by the way. We're not talking about the hard one in Heavensward. This is the ARR one. But we are giving it a B tier. It is better than Ifrit. It is always a fun trial to do. The music is absolutely fantastic. It is somewhat challenging, and it's just fun design, like fun mechanics. And falling off the edge and not being able to be revived is actually a lot of fun, especially with new players, because they'll be thrown off the edge and then be in like chat like, I don't know what I did wrong. Can someone res me, please? It's just funny to see them panic. I failed 3 times against Ifrit because we all avoided the needle. Oh boy. But yeah, the Titan fight is very memorable, and that is why I give it a B tier. Then there is the Howling Eye, the third trial, Garuda. It is a D tier. The music, I will give it, is fantastic. When she goes like the now fall, and then the guitars kicked in, the da-da-da-da-da, kind of weird to try and make guitar noises when the FF13 battle music with the violin is going in the background. But whatever. The mechanics to me are all very boring. I find the mechanics in Garuda very boring. There's really nothing going on there. She has her little wind burst thing which gives you a debuff, but that's not a big deal, especially if you're playing tank like I do. And all around, this is what I expect a first trial to be, where it's literally just melt boss, maybe kill some ads. You know, you don't even need to kill the ads in Garuda, I don't think. And then it's just over. The arena and the Howling Eye is kind of annoyingly indistinct. Yeah, it's cool at first, but after that, it's like, well, I don't remember this at all. It's like a shitty Stonehenge. Well, Garuda feels like a downgrade compared to the other primals, honestly, which is why I give it the lowest rating out of the 3 ARR primals. And it's just too easy. Like, I know it's an MSQ trial, but you couldn't have made it at least a little bit difficult, Square? What the fuck? I don't know how it was when it first came out. It may have been severely nerfed, but I don't give a shit. I think it's too easy. Now we move on to Cape Westwind. Possibly the biggest joke in the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV. That much is true. But by God, I love this fucking trial. A tier. That's not even a joke. It's an A tier, and here's why. The actual trial is easy and is mechanically dog shit. There is absolutely nothing going on in this trial. You don't need to worry about the ads, just nuke the boss. However, it is a Cape Westwind in Final Fantasy XIV is a rite of passage for every sprout to go through. They are told, oh, it's so hard. This is where the game gets difficult. This is where it truly steps up. Of course, this is a lie on the side of the veteran players, where we just want to see them sweat. It is always fun to see them panic, and the veteran chat spam of like the macro. Okay, here. You guys go here. You guys go here. Everyone got the markers, and you put the markers down in random fucking places. Everyone freaks out. The new player's like, what's going on? And then you just kill the boss in 30 seconds. I find that hilarious. And while if that wasn't a thing in this game, I would hate this trial. Because it is a thing, I give it an A tier. Which I think people will get mad at when they see what I compare to it to what I put in A tier as well. Because they're going to be like, okay, this is taking a joke a little too seriously. I spent 40 minutes getting to Cape Westwind the first time for only the boss to die in 1 minute. Yeah, the first time we were like, you need to experience this right away, so we went in unsynced, level synced, I level synced in with like 5 people, and you still kill it in 30 seconds, because it's that fucking easy. Alright, water break, and I'll change the music, because we've been listening to Final Fantasy XIII music for 6 minutes now. Alright. Alright, FF14 music. Okay, here we go. We don't need that. Alright, here we go. I'm not changing it to Ravana. I'm not doing that, Neb. I don't care. Alright, here we go. Into the last parts of ARR. The 2.x patch series. If you've seen my So I Played video on the first 4 patches of 2.x, you'll know I hate those fucking patches. I played them literally a month before they got cut down to pretty much nothing. I was salty as shit when that happens, but sometimes you get it, sometimes you get got. But the first trial of the 2.x series, Thorn March Hard. The hard part must be a joke on the developers because this is a very easy fight. And you get to fight a Moogle and kill a Moogle. So for that, B tier. It has good music, like, who doesn't like the good King Moggle and a good king? It's great. Fantastic. Chasing the ads around is as fun as it is irritating, especially when doing extreme mode, because they're a pain in the ass. But you just chase around the arena, and that is a good bit of fun. You get to kill a giant Moogle. That speaks for itself. You get to kill a giant Moogle. This is Halloween, but Moogles? Exactly. Thank you, Sammy. I have died on Thorn March when people ignored me. My god. It feels comedic, honestly, the fight. It feels like it's a joke, like, what do we throw in here, Yoshi P? I don't know, man. We just made this game in a year and a half. I'm still suffering from sleep deprivation from that period of time. Can we make a Moogle model bigger and give it a crown and a scepter and make them fight it? Yes, Yoshi P, we can. Okay, fantastic. I feel like that is how this fight came into being. Just a joke in the development team. And by God, is fantastic. Moogle murder? Hell yes. And, well, the fight is also somewhat chaotic. Moving on. Leviathan, the horror leader. Okay. This is the first trial I ever had trouble with soloing at max level on extreme mode. But because of that, my opinion is a little biased, but I'm trying to keep that out. I am giving the horror leader a C tier, right next to Ifrit. It is a solid trial from the otherwise abysmal patch that is 2.2 through the Maelstrom. That patch is garbage. Garbage. What are we rating this on? It is my personal opinion. In other words, it is purely objective. How fun, how unique, and fuck off. Sid would like to know your location. Not having the rails off in normal mode like it is in extreme is dumb. But it is redeemed by the extreme mode because I do feel that the rails coming off and you actually having to pay attention to the tail slam is a good mechanic. But I need to try and separate normal and extreme a bit more. The elemental converter is a dumb fucking mechanic. I'm sorry. At first, when you first go into it, it's like, oh, great. You know, this is a little bit of an extra thing they've added to the trial when you're going through it for the first time blind. But then, you get into random roulettes. You don't know the timing. The other 7 people don't know the timing. So you spend 30 minutes wiping on a normal trial trying to figure out what the fuck the timing of the elemental converter is. It's garbage. Wait, you need to time it? Yes, there's a specific timing. Are we counting the OST or just mechanics? The OST does help its ranking. To me, this is just my opinion on the experience of the trial, I could say. It's just that I have a bit of an opinion on mechanics, too. I've never timed it and always lived. Well, you're just a lucky bastard, Nebula. But the trial feels like an onslaught from the sea because of all the Sagaheen jumping in. That part is cool. But it's not that hard despite the name, other than the fucking converter. The converter is the hardest part of this fight by far and away. The rest is easy as shit. Moving on to Ramuh. Ramuh, that's what I call him. His name might be Ramua or Rama, whatever. Who cares? I call him Ramuh. The striking tree hard. This is a D tier trial. I'm sorry. It is a waste of a primal. Legitimately. Aside from a few weak AoEs and a few weak ads, it's just melt the boss. He just kind of stands in the center like, oh, show me your worth, warriors of light. I hate it. And I mean, it has good music, especially when flying around in the mount, so that's why it's not F tier. Yeah, I've said all I need to say about that one. Akafa Amphitheater. Shiva. Like, all these sex and striking tree are on point. Yeah, it is an okay set piece. I'll give it that. But moving on to Shiva. I love this fight. And not because of a meme like Cape Westwind. I legitimately love this fight. It is an A tier fight. It is the best music in any ARR trial by far and away. I mean, it starts off with Footsteps in the Snow, which is already really epic and amazing sounding, and then it moves into Oblivion. I love that. I will, unironically, well, I do it to a lot of music in this game, but this is the first song I unironically listened to in my free time and had on a playlist with stuff like MCR and all that other shit, because it's just a really good song. Oblivion is the good shit. Yes, Oblivion is so good. So, it is the hardest ARR trial as well. Some mechanics will kick your party's ass. Specifically, the one tank cleave. The sword, or I forget, sword or scepter. I know that was what it was in Extreme and Unreal. But regardless, there's still the cleave in normal, where if your tank moves towards you on that and you don't move out of the way, you're fucking dead. You're dead. It has semi-complex and constant mechanics as well, so I think that is what cements it as an A tier. Almost an S in my opinion. Now then, the next one. The Chrysalis. I honestly forgot this fight existed before I went through the list of what to put on this tier list. F tier. I think me saying that I forgot it exists, kind of makes the case on its own. It involves saving Minfilia as well. Fuck Minfilia. Could we just have let her die? The cooldown multiplication when you get into that one little white area, it's like, oh yeah, all your cooldowns now have a multiplication on them. That's fucking dumb. I'm sorry. That is really dumb. It's bad. It's just bad. The orbs are a decent mechanic, though, you having to alternate them. That's a pretty cool mechanic that you normally expect on an extreme nowadays. But they're on a normal here. So, you know, that's okay. To me, this is just straddling a D tier. But I'm still gonna give it an F. Tank the towers, please. Stop making me not press much effects buffs, too. Yeah, that's true, but still, that's stupid. Alright. I still think it's stupid. No one's gonna change my mind on that. Now, we move on to one of my favorite trials in the game. The good old Steps of Faith. It's another A tier, people. It's a personal favorite of mine. The boss is absolutely awesome looking. It's an amazing set piece. I love the set piece, like going into Ishgard on the Steps of Faith. Fantastic. It's so cool. It reminds me of Elden Bridge and Twilight Princess, but if it was snowed in. I love it. It has great atmosphere. The boss is fucking huge, so it feels like you're fighting a giant. It's like completely like, oh shit. How am I supposed to kill this thing? Because it's like, what, 5-6 times the size of Ifrit, Titan, and all them? Like, it's insane. And it also has some unique mechanics, like having to have a DPS or a healer, normally DPS, run up the stairs to the side wall to use the Dragon Killer. I think that's really cool. I almost wiped there once. Good time. Yeah, you actually have to do the mechanics. Yeah, it's great. People have told me that, oh, why are you saying it's so good and easy? It's actually harder. It was hard during ARR. Huh? What? It's still semi-complex. But if you manage to lose your shit on that trial, you're fucking garbage. Especially if you do it nowadays. Alright. Now then, we move into the Heavensward trials. ARR is done. We have 3 A tiers, 2 B tiers, 2 C tiers, 2 D tiers, and an F tier. The first trial of Heavensward is, I know, my Mod Vento's personal favorite. Thokast Thok, starring Ravana. I'm giving it a B tier. What about Gilgamesh? That is side content. I'm giving Ravana a B tier. He feels like a cross of Ifrit and Titan. That's how he feels to me. The music is absolutely incredible in there. I do love that song, especially when you get the mount for it, the Rose Lantern, and you're just listening to it while flying above, and the lyrics going, high on high I stand. It's awesome. It has lots of different mechanics, including those which I know will knock you off. I'm pretty sure that's a normal. It might just be an extreme. I don't remember. A tier just for his personality. Honestly, Cammy, that's actually realistic. But I'm giving him a B tier, just straddling an A, let's say. And it feels like a very triumphant fight, thanks to the music, the design, and all the different animations, like you're getting put into the air while he swings his sword. Really cool. Now then, we move into the second trial against Bismarck, called the Limitless Blue. I am also giving this a B tier. Hear me out. It's a very cool set piece. It's a very memorable fight with how he tries to destroy the island. It is a very cool format with him having to use the Dragon Killers to draw him in while killing the ads, and then going onto his shell and chipping away at the carapace to get to his core. And then you get to kill Corona. If only the game was tied to real life, we would have been out of this over a year ago, man. Heresy? What do you mean, heresy? I am right. This is an objective opinion, Sammy. B for heresy. I hate that fight so much. I don't like soloing the extreme version for Wondrous Tales, but otherwise I like the fight. Let's move on. The Singularity Reactor against King Thornton. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first S tier of the night. Where is it? Okay, there it is. We have our first S tier, the Singularity Reactor. Oh my god. Now this is a fight. It is an epic final battle of Heavensward against the church. Against the guy who turns himself into what it can only be described as a primal. It is some giant fucking knight with a bunch of knights of the round around him. It's awesome. It has lots of mechanics constantly going and many, many different phases of the boss. It has amazing music, remixing the Heavensward leitmotifs and using its own things. Fantastic. The set piece is amazing with how it switches to outer space in the giant fortress of Azazel. Fan-fucking-tastic. And it's very dramatic of a fight thanks to the lighting and its atmosphere, and extremely, extremely triumphant. Easy S tier. But the end of Heavensward goes from strength to strength. As we go to 3.3 trial, The final fight against Nidhogg. The final steps of faith. Of all of the fights, all of the MSQ trials, this is the easiest for me to rank. As it is the best trial in the fucking game. The best normal MSQ trial in the game. Period. Easy S tier. It is the best fight in the game. The music is amazing. It starts off with a dragon song, and it's more contemplative, like, how did we get here? And just really upsetting as you're fighting against a Stinhogg, I guess, because Estinian is still part of Nidhogg at this point. Then it goes into the song, I think it's called Fallen. Anyways, really good song as a little bridge. It's like kind of ramps up the thing because you go from a very somber mood to more determination. Like, it's time to bring this thing to an end. And then the final song that triggers at the end of the fight when he glows red, Revenge of the Horde, is full triumph. Kill this son of a bitch. Put an end to the 1,000-Year War. It is absolutely incredible. Everything about this song, musically, visually, and mechanically, is so absolutely incredible and reminiscent, and honestly an overall fantastic representation of the amazing story that was Heavensward. Easiest thing to rank in the game for me. Easiest S tier. But now we move on to what many people believe to be a bad expansion. I don't think it's bad. And its trials, for the most part, reflect this. Let's go to the first one. The Pool of Tribute, where you take on Susano. To me, this is a solid A tier. Straddling B, but a solid A tier. It looks so bad sandwiched between two great expansions. Oh yeah, that's the only thing about it. There are tons of AoEs in Susano. It is constantly snap, 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 one to another, to another, to another, and they are so distinct. You'll go from like a bunch of spotty AoEs that divide you around the arena to this one little slit that you have to get in because both sides are going to get fucking cleaved. It's great. Wild and pure and forever free. Yes, exactly. The falling sword mechanic where he just shoots his sword down and a tank has to hold on to it and just like use the active time maneuver to just fight back against it and then repel it while the others chip away at the front of the sword. Fantastic. It's awesome. It feels like an actual challenge, which isn't something you can normally say of MSQ trials. So I'm going to have to give him an A tier. And it's less like a dance fight, which is something that a lot of the fights in 14 are. And it's more just organized fucking chaos. I love it. Then we move on to another shit trial. Emanation. F tier. It's a very forgettable fight. You know, whenever I think of trials, this is the one I always forget exists besides the Chrysalis. We don't talk about the Chrysalis. It is cool music, I'll give it that. But the fight itself, in like the golden little amphitheater, where she's just floating in the middle, not really doing anything, maybe raising an arm with a flower popping out every now and again. She doesn't have like any actual animation. She's just like, ah, yes, I stand here. Please get tempered. But all the animations, way too flashy. Way too over the top. I just don't like this one. And the Vril mechanic, where you pick up an orb and use it to like avoid some attacks or become invulnerable, that's fucking dumb. I think it's just bad in my opinion. Not as bad as the Chrysalis. Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as the Chrysalis. The Chrysalis is, to me, the worst trial in the game. Emanation's just the second worst. Let me get some water. I'm thirsty. Alright. Now we go on to the final fight of the 4.0 MSQ. There's a reason why you fight her multiple times in the MSQ. To be not forgotten. Yeah, I forget Emanation. I don't forget the fight where you get to go up in a solo duty with R involved in 4 duel. I don't forget that. That's incredible. Emanation's just shit. We're not counting Sephiroth right. No, we're not counting the Warring Triad. I'm probably going to do a list at some point for CNE, but that is not today. Alright. Moving into the final Stormblood trial of the 4.0 MSQ. The Royal Menagerie. Oh boy. This was a hard one for me to decide on. It really was. But you know, I'm very confident in my decision. A tier. It bounced between A and B for me. because I thought the ending of Stormblood was shit. It was not that good. It was a letdown. So, I had a tempered opinion of this until I decided to look at it solely because of what it is. I'm giving it an A tier. More an A minus, but still. I mean, you get to fight. Did that music just repeat? Keep going. Yeah, new song, thank you. Alright. It's a huge fucking dragon, man. Yeah. It's a huge dragon. I like big dragons. Dragons are cool. The music in there is awesome. Not as good as the music in other Stormblood trials, honestly. And definitely not the Heavensward trials. But it's still pretty solid. The boss looks actually intimidating. And it's absolutely huge. Like, that's awesome. I find that so cool. It has many wipeable mechanics. Like, at the very beginning, you have that knockback where if you're not prepared for it, the party's gone. You have the ATB where if you screw up, yeah, the party's gone. You have just many wipeable mechanics. I think that's cool. And the two phases of the fight are very distinct. Even though they're both technically just two square platforms, they have very distinct sets of abilities and how the arena interacts. So I think that is very cool and why I give it an A tier. Now then, we move on to another very, very easy fight for me to rank. It's a huge dragon who can destroy the stage and you can attack his tail and he has all the mechanics. Yeah, exactly. Now then, this trial and the story around it. This is a trial that you can't separate the story from, considering it is literally within the trial. It is what cements Stormblood to me as being absolutely incredible. Castrum Voluminous against Tsukuyomi. The primal Yatsuyu turned herself into. Easy fucking S tier, man. It is so good. The boss looks great. Like, it looks so cool because it shows... This is like a very symbolic thing because it shows the light and darkness. Two things within Yatsuyu that were constantly at war. The light being pushed back ever since she was little because of the life she led. The music is absolutely incredible. How it starts out into its interlude. And then when it goes into full Wayward Daughter, it's fantastic. It's so reminiscent of her story as well. Because it starts out like more just depressed. And like more just like her younger years where she was just abused. This interlude is like her trying to actually find a life to live and hold on to once Yatsuyu died and Tsuyu came into things after the end of Stormblood. And then it just goes straight into Wayward Daughter where she just kicks it into full gear like, screw it, I've already done this, I'm gonna keep going as I always have. It's fantastic. The set piece is awesome and the way it changes reflects to the music as well. Starting out with the Garlean, then moving into the more flower garden Japanese-esque. Really cool. It's just really awesome, honestly. The story of this fight, it is so story heavy with her dialogue, and especially moving into the interlude, where it shows like ghosts of Yatsuyu, and Yatsuyu standing in the middle of a fighting Xenos and Gulsetsu, just fighting against each other, just telling her different things. Like, Xenos telling her that she's nothing and having to obey him, and then Gulsetsu telling her to, like, live her own life and fight for herself. And she's just sitting there conflicted, which just perfectly emphasizes her entire character and encapsulates it. I have a personal soft spot for this trial, honestly. For all of those reasons. Like, to me, of all the trials to involve story, this one does it best. Because through its music, visuals, and especially the interlude and the story throughout in the dialogue, it takes her entire story arc and presents it to the player and presents it absolutely raw. It is absolutely incredible. It's the perfect example of I am redemption. Stop trying to save me. I'm beyond redemption. Yeah. She just accepts what she's become and who she is and keeps pushing forward. It's an incredible trial. For so many reasons. And it's why it is one of my top 3 in the entire game. and by far and away my favorite trial song. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we leave Stormblood and move forward to current expansion, of which we have seen all of its trials. It's not better than Ravana, fuck you, it's much better than Ravana. We move into Shadowbringers, starting with the Dancing Plague against Titania. I might get some shit for this one, but it's an A tier. Just an A tier, almost a B tier, and honestly, if I was feeling pessimistic on a day, I'd put it in a C tier without regret. But to me, it's an A. It has good music. Like, the song is pretty good. We just giving everyone A's? No, we're not giving everyone A's. Look at these fucking failures. Look at these failures. And as I said, Titania is a fight for me that moves between 3 tiers. Honestly, I should probably give it a B. But I just know everyone really likes the music, so I went, yeah, we're just going to give it a B. Screw it. Screw it. We'll just give it a B. Why not? Yeah, basically. You can't just judge it on the music. The music helps the atmosphere of the fight. Everything is... Hey, some music in this game is better than others. I'm sorry, it is. Like, Moogle Mog is a meme. Otherwise, it's not great. Titan's legitimately good. Ravana's legitimately good. Bismarck is shit. Titania's okay. Leviathan is meh. Ifrit is meh. Garuda's really good. Ramu's only good on a mount. Lakshmi's pretty shit. Like, I'm okay with it, but I don't... It's pretty shit. And Grisalis, I don't even remember the song from this one, man. Bismarck's is good? No. Alright. But yeah, Titania, good music. A really cool set piece in the castle in Ilmeg. Besides the fact, I don't like Ilmeg. I really don't. But she's a very unique and memorable boss. And there is a good amount of mechanics going on. Like, enough to actually make you sweat a bit, especially if you're just fresh past 70 into the fights. They're pretty okay. They're pretty okay. So, yeah, solid B tier. Solid B, low A, high C. That is it to me. It just jumps around. I should make a bipolar tier at this point. Now then we move into the Crown of the Immaculate. Oh yeah. Easy. Easy S tier. Easy S tier. The music is absolutely incredible. That is the music that's used in the gameplay trailer. It's just great. It encapsulates that fight so well. Fantastic. S just for the glow up. Honestly, yeah. The set piece is incredible at the top of Mount Gulg, like in the little thing there. That to me is awesome. The atmosphere of the fight is amazing with the lighting being so, I don't know how to say it, like almost apocalyptic. And it fits everything so well, especially with Vothri's character when he transitions from the ugly old bastard into Mr. Poster Boy for some modeling magazine. Maybe Vothri was alright all along. Yeah, it really captures that kind of alien heavens feel. Yeah, exactly. Like, it fits so well, especially when he's like, I would accept this trial. The lighting and the whole atmosphere of the fight, absolutely incredible. But, you know, despite how cool the boss design switch is, despite that, the fight's kind of a joke. Like, legitimately, the fight's a bit of a joke. It is so damn easy. Like, there is nothing going on. But what it lacks in depth of really any kind, it makes up for in atmosphere. Which is why it holds an S tier for me, even despite almost falling to an A. And also, it's called the Crown of the Immaculate. That is the coolest trial name out of every single trial in this game. Now then, we move into what I know is a trial that made a lot of people cry. The last 2 trials of Shadowbringers probably could... You could probably give India enough water to drink for a year with the amount of tears shed over these last 2 trials. Oh boy. And ignore his best mod. Oh yeah, sure. Sure, the bet. Yeah, keep telling yourself that, bot. The Dying Gasp. I might get some shit for this. A tier. It's just an A tier fight. High B, low to mid A. Honestly. It isn't even close to an S tier for me. The music is absolutely amazing. The set piece with Amrit in the background is pretty damn cool. The atmosphere and the adrenaline, especially of going into the fight. Like, the only thing that could put this into the top S tier is if I was counting the load-in, where you're standing in the middle after Graha just pulls everyone across the rift, and you're just standing there with the Shadowbringers music playing, looking at the destruction of a world, just as the music plays. That would push it to an S, but we're not counting that. It does have a shit ton of mechanics, and 2 very distinct phases, but to me, it kind of does feel like a reskinned Shinryu, but with not as much mechanical depth. At this point, you're really focused on mechanics? Yeah. I like having a bit of difficulty. It's goth Shinryu. You know, Shinryu is already edgy as shit. But I think a goth Shinryu is legitimately a good way to describe the Hades fight. Yeah. High B, low to mid A. Like, you guys might notice this list is a bit top heavy. But I just really hate these 4 trials in D and F tier. I don't like C tier. B tier is meh. A tier is pretty good, and S tier is fantastic. So, like, if this didn't include any A or R trials, this list would be a lot more spread out. But when including the A or R trials, it is going to be top heavy. The trials are all good, that's bullshit. Alright, now we move into the most current MSQ trial to date. Which is funny, because it's been in the game for over a year. The Seat of Sacrifice. S tier. Easy S tier. The music is incredible, and my appreciation for it only increased after hearing the fact that Soken wrote a good part of it while he was in the fucking hospital getting treated for cancer. That man is insane. But it's so good, and the lyrics especially captivate so much of Elidibus' story. Like, this trial also does amazingly with telling its story throughout the fight and in its music. It is a very story-heavy trial as well, with the dialogue, and especially the middle scene. The set piece of being in the Crystal Tower is absolutely incredible. I love the Crystal Tower. Esther, everyone would come after you. That is true. I think I'd legitimately have death threats sent to me if I didn't put this at an S tier. But, well, it is legitimately an S tier. I gotta head out later. It's Innocence's 3rd form. Yeah, pretty much. But, yeah. The middle scene with Emmett Selk is fantastic. You. It cannot be. That is absolutely incredible from a story perspective, and it just changes everything that you thought. And that is, like, the only thing that I think has any substantial thing of, maybe Emmett's not dead, except he's very dead. He's probably very, very, very dead. But if he's the one voicing over the Endwalker trailer, who knows? We don't really know in that regard. But regardless, so many people lost their shit when that snap happened. Yeah, I did too. The tank LB going into the 2nd phase is awesome. He's about to unleash his big attack, and it's the only place where you really use the tank LB. And I remember my first time, I was told LB in the chat, and I hit that LB button for the first time ever, and as a paladin, I just put up that giant wall against the flood of light, and it was so cool. It was legitimately so cool. Born from a Zem's memories, that is possible. But that was so cool and added so much to the overall epicness of the fight, especially as a paladin fighting against a paladin primal of sorts. That's cool. And it is the hardest normal trial in the game, possibly, honestly. Because you can still go in with a group of people that have done the fight a million times. Well, not a million times, but have done it like a few times. And there will still be some things where the party gets decimated. Legitimately. They will get their ass kicked. Because there are tons of mechanics within the fight that are absolutely punishing and will kick your ass. Alright, now for the reshuffle at the end, in case I want to make Weight of the World in the background. Yeah. Let's do a reshuffle. If there is any little thing to do a reshuffle of, let's take a quick look. Button mashing that fight was a pain, though. Yeah. The Chrysalis and Lakshmi, I'm confident with where they are. Garuda and Rama, fuck you. You know what, we'll make a little adjustment. Rama's joining them in F tier. And Ifrit and Leviathan will just join them here as better than Garuda. Better than Garuda, but not by much. Rama is the best out of these, followed by Lakshmi. Now then we reallocate here. Because we now have an empty C tier. I just clicked it. Oh my. Justice for Lakshmi? No, fuck Lakshmi. Get rid of this shit. I don't really agree. Too bad. My opinion is objective. Absolutely objective. There is no arguing with it. We're moving Titan, Mogalmog, and Bismarck here. We can move him down. This down. Yeah. That's fine as is. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, that's good. A bit of a readjustment, but we're going to leave it at this. In F tier, we have the Striking Tree against Ramu. Just grooving to Shiva in the background. Hell yeah. Then, also in F tier, we have Emanation against Lakshmi. And then we have the Chrysalis as the final F tier against Nabraleus, or whatever the fuck his name is. In D tier, we have the Bowl of Embers against Ifrit. The Howling Eye against Garuda. And the Horror Leader against Leviathan. And then in C tier, we have the Navel with Titan. Thorn March with Good King Mogalmog. And Bismarck from the Limitless Blue. In B tier, we have Ravana in Thok-Ass Thok. Titania in the Dancing Plague. I don't know the name of the boss in Cape Westwind because I never stare at his health for more than 20 seconds before it dies. I mean, Titan has to be at least a B. Well, with all this readjustment, this is just how it's going to be. The Royal Menagerie is also B tier against Shinryu. In A tier, we have Akafal Amphitheater against Shiva. We have, I don't know the name of the boss in Steps of Faith, I'm not going to lie. But regardless, Steps of Faith is also A tier. We have Susano. What's that trial named again? Shit. Fake fan. Oh yeah, the Pool of Tribute. In the Dying Gasp, another A tier, we have Hades, and then an S tier. We have King Thornton in the Singularity Reactor, Nidhogg in the Final Steps of Faith, Tsukuyomi or Yatsuyu. In Castrum Fluminous, Innocence in Crown of the Immaculates, and Warrior of Light in the Seed of Sacrifice. Is Vishap? Oh, okay. So Vishap. Okay. Whatever. This is the tier list. This is it. It is perfect. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help out a lot, and I'm not just talking about inflating my ego. It was a lot of fun going through my thoughts on all these trials once more, and I got a stream's worth of content out of it, so I'll definitely be doing more of these. And if you want to watch it happen live and join in on live discussion, make sure to head over to my Twitch and drop a follow. Also, if you want to do this tier list for yourself, the template is public and linked below, and if you want to share it with me, I have a linked tweet for exactly that purpose. I look forward to seeing all your guys' lists if you choose to share them. But that is going to be all for me. As always, my name's Lokidum, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.